invitation to come to Malaysia, my first time. Fantastic country. Even possible to gamble. That is a danger, of course, but now we are safe in here. Okay. Let's see. The presentation mode is here. Thank you. So, I will talk about physical activity in high technological societies. And I'm after the justification of physical activity. I'm after the question, why should we bother? Is it necessary in a modern, future, high technological society? And if so, if it's appropriate, why? And with physical activity, I mean not a nervous twitch of the eye or something. I mean extensive bodily movements done for a purpose and with intention. It can be sports, dance, outdoor recreation. It can be walking to school, to job, etc. First, a little bit about technology. Technology is our issue here, and technology can be understood in various ways. My way of understanding it here is, as it's said here, it's material devices designed and manufactured to make existing human activities easier, or to make possible activities which people have dreamt of engaging in, flying for instance, as you see on the image, but to which they are not biologically adapted. This is to a certain extent a positive view of technology. Technology is liberation. Technology can free us from harsh, tough manual labor. It can create a more healthy environment for us, and it can enable us to play and to enjoy life more, as these parachutists probably do. So, technology can be linked to the human disposition to play. And this is the old idea of the homo ludens, the playing human being. We are disposed for play. We are disposed to search for strong and varied experiences, excitement, joy. And this is part of our deep dispositions as human beings. When you combine human creativity and playfulness with technology, interesting things happen. This is Nintendo Wii, where you combine physical activity and computer games. But there is another side of the picture, of course, because we have a disposition for laziness as well, especially physical laziness. This is, I guess, a product of evolution. We're designed that way to save calories in harsh surroundings. But these days, in modern high technological societies, this has become a problem for us because our disposition for laziness makes us stand still in the electrical chairs all around this area instead of walking the chairs, which would be good for most of us. You see even here, children are equipped with golf carts. So when you combine human creativity with technology, with a disposition of physical laziness, you get problems. The losing party is the moving body, and to a certain extent, health. We stand still too much, we live sedentary lives in modern societies, and this has radical health consequences of various kinds, and you've heard a lot about that in this conference. This is a problem today. It might not be a problem tomorrow or in the future. Who knows? There might be compensation for the negative effects of inactivity. We might have electrostimulation things on our muscles while reading or watching TV. There might be biochemical aids that reduces the problems, health problems linked to inactivity. We don't know. Health is not the ultimate justification of physical activity. There need to be other reasons for promoting it in addition to health. And this is what I like to look into now. Why should we care? Why bother in a high technological society? Why bother? Is it any reason to bother with sport, exercise, in a society where you can reduce the health problems linked to inactivity, for instance? Is there another justification of sport and exercise? I will look into three answers, three typical dominant answers through the history of sport and exercise. I will evaluate them, their relevance in a high technological society, And at the end I will propose what I call an integrated justification of physical activity in modern society. So then first, a historical justification of physical activity and sport, perhaps the oldest one. Physical activity, sports, builds character. This is a very old justification. You will find it in the ancient, among the ancient Olympic Games, in the ancient philosophers, the Greek philosophers. Plato said, two arts the gods have given mankind, and these are music and gymnastics. And this built a whole human being. We take a long jump in history to 19th century England, the land of sport. The clear ideology, the clear reason to promote sport was a character ideal, a moral ideal. You wanted to educate muscular Christians. This was the ideology. Sport cultivated virtues like stamina, effort, solidarity with your team, the ability to endure pain, strengthen the body, and it made sportsmen the perfect defenders of the British Empire. So morality was a clear aim. I have a Norwegian example here, Fridtjof Nansen, Norwegian explorer, polar explorer, avid skier. He said, practice idrett, this is the Scandinavian word for sports, meaning powerful deeds, and avoid the English sport, it's too competitive. Idrett, like skiing, is what cultivates the man in particular, and it cultivates morality and moral virtues. Albert Camus, the French existentialist and author, everything I know about ethics, I've learned from sports. This is an old and strong tradition in the justification of physical activity and sport. It teaches character. It's not necessarily a good justification. First of all, historically, this justification of physical activity and sport is dominated by ethnocentric masculinity ideals, meaning certain masculinity ideals belonging to a particular culture. I gave you the example from England. We have similar examples in Scandinavian history of sport as with Fridtjof Nansen. So this was a particular ideal, very dogmatic ideal, and an imperialistic ideal, not suitable in any society, and maybe not suitable in modern society. The other problem with this idea is that sport and physical exercise necessarily cultivates morality, which is not true, of course. Sport and physical exercise, especially sport, is a social laboratory. You can teach kids anything in sport if you want to. In boxing, as on the image here, you can teach them aggressiveness, not to care about others' pain, and you can teach them the opposite, to be sensitive to others' pain. In sparring, where you take care of your friend while boxing, and it's fun, it's a game, whereas it can be a very harsh and cynical practice. So there's a bracketed morality in some sports. If you transmit this morality to other spheres of society, some kids might do have problems. So the morality, traditional morality approach is insensitive to context and content of the activity. It's uncritical and it's very instrumental. And you won't come far with this in modern society, in modern multicultural society. So we move to another justification. Again, long historical roots. I guess you can go back to ancient times even here, with the ancient ideals of health and human well-being, where you cultivate the whole human being. The scientific approach to health, seeing health as a chain of cause-effect relationships, is a product of the scientific revolutions in the 1600s. René Descartes, philosopher who divided body and mind and studied body as nature and cause-effect chains. William Harvey, the English medical doctor who first described the cardiovascular system. These and others lay the foundation for the modern understanding of health and the relationship between lifestyle and health. And the first place, I think, the relationship between physical activity and health was mentioned explicitly based on modern scientific ideas, was in the French encyclopedia from the 1700s. In the volume on health, actually, they illustrated good health with a golf player. Some of you would like that, of course. Stuart Wood, he's a golf player. This was taken further on in the workers' sport movement in the mid-war period. And the workers, the socialist sport movement, were the first to really be concerned about social hygiene and sports, and physical activity as a link to health and to strengthen the working class. And this sport movement was in opposition to the Olympic sport movement, among other things. Today we work towards the same goal. They included medical doctors in their practice, included women, children's sports, and health became increasingly important as a justification of physical activity. And today, as you all know, this is perhaps the main justification, the predominant justification. We move from ideology to epidemiology, from morality to health based on science, scientific evidence. Inactivity is a public health problem. We've heard a lot about that. At this conference, we will hear more. You'll see a lot of figures. These are not the newest one. It's based on a review article by Barbara Ainsworth, reviewing a lot of the US data on this issue, where 74% of the American population do not meet recommended physical activity levels, recommended based on health effects. Almost a quarter of the population report no physical activity at all. You can live your life without moving more or less. And obesity, BMI above 30, above one-fifth of the population. The figures, I guess, will be similar today. I have not traveled this long way without being able to say something about Norway, so here you get some Norwegian data. Norway is a very active society. 3 out of 4 children are members of sport clubs. Active members of sport clubs. Children are from 12 and down. The Norwegian Olympic Committee, this is a long acronym, I have to think. Our president is in the audience here, she will check me out now. The Norwegian Olympic and Paralympic Committee and Confederation of Sports, is this correct? Has more than 2 million memberships in a society with 4.6 million people, which is good. It's an active population. There is a strong outdoor culture. 8 out of 10 adult Norwegians report to be regularly engaged in walking, in parks, in nature. And these activity patterns are quite stable. They have been stable in the last decades, which seems good. On the other hand, you see, we have ancient technology for transportation here without bodily movement. These days we have more modern technologies. Still, in spite of the stability and activity patterns, we experience the similar trends as other developed societies. These are some new data. 69% of girls and 60% of boys below, actually this is not below 15, these are 15 years old. They report to be physically active less than an hour a day. And an hour a day is the recommended level. Adults 20% over